Hey guys, Shockberg here from Fightrise. We're doing a replay review of one of our Rashid players at the platinum level, and against coming up against a platinum Ryu in ranked, I believe, or it might have been a casual. But as we look at this, I think we see some good stuff by our Rashid, and hopefully we'll have a couple takeaways here of different things to think about in the match, because most of the execution is okay. There are areas we can improve, but I think really what's really going to separate like a platinum level player with from someone who is climbing up further in the ranks is it's really about situational awareness and decision making. And then of course once you put yourself in the right decisions, you're going to have to execute. But we want to put ourselves in advantageous situations as much as possible, and limit the times where we're kind of at the disadvantage. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in, take a look. We'll be a little bit critical, but I think we'll learn some things along the way here. Okay, so the first thing we see right away is we have this EX mixer to kind of open up the match. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially if you have a read that the opponent is going to be jumping in towards you. So maybe this is like the second game in the set, and we've already seen the opponent display this behavior. And if that's the case, then I'm okay with this. One thing I don't know about Rashid, if there you can get that same angle on the mixer without using the EX or OD to start the round, that might be better because we're burning 2 bars of resource here, and it's a bit of a risk with what we're doing, and really we like to see that OD version as an invincible reversal or something like that. But due to the nature here, right, we're looking to anti-air them when they jump, so we don't particularly need the invincible part of this. So just something to think about. Meter management, can be really important in this game. So let's continue here. This is pretty good spacing so far. If we really look at what Rashid's doing, look, see how you're just outside the range of Ryu's buttons. That's really good positioning. The one thing I will call out though is since we are in good position, we got to question why we're throwing this fireball. Let's take a look really quick at actually Rashid's normals. So just going through it in training mode here, we have a couple different options, right? And it looks like probably all of them will hit in this range. So we get 720 damage off this fireball, but probably if instead we're hitting with a button there, like maybe his heavy punch, or I really don't know what the fastest normals are there, but whatever normal you can cancel into a special move, like maybe your eagle spike right there, you're going to get a lot more damage off of it. So instead of this 700, you'll probably be doing about 2,000 damage, which adds up at the end. So just be mindful, this isn't really the range that we want to be doing fireballs. And so after we're kind of in this comfortable range for Rashid, again, remember that we're probably looking at normals that have about this much range. We back off to full screen, which is kind of is limiting our offensive options here. Once we're at full screen, we're doing a charge fireball, which I think based on where you're at is a good move. But in general, we don't want to give up this much space for free with Rashid, because his fireballs are decent, but Ryu's are going to be better. Someone like Guile is going to eat your fireballs up. So as Rashid, we generally want to be closing distance to sit in this kind of occupy this space here, preferably just outside of Ryu's normal range so we can whiff punish. But regardless, we want to be closer to this spot over here. We don't really want to be putting ourselves at these full screen ranges. So I see we build, Rashid has one of his mechanics is with that fireball, he gets a wind charge, and I believe that run into that little hit there uses the wind charge. In general, I think that for the situation we're in, this isn't bad, right? Because we gave up the space right here. But just something to consider is that type of full screen entry is going to be a lot easier to react to. You see, Ryu just jumps over it. If we were standing a little bit closer, if we have the charge and we're standing here maybe, and then we do the run into that kick deal, he's going to have a lot less time to react. And we'll see more success with that kind of move. But when we do these kind of easily telegraphed and punishable moves from full screen, our better opponents are going to take advantage of that. So we want to keep an eye out and see if we put ourselves in that same position in the rest of this match as we go. So here, I think we know this one already. If we say what was the mistake here. It's not the worst mistake. We come out ahead, but we have an opportunity to kind of punish him after this sweep. It can be hard to make the decision of what to do. Preferably, we'll have some type of combo ready to go with that. So Ryu has a pretty fast sweep, and you can see he's -8 on block. So you're going to have to punish that, probably not with one of your heavy buttons, but you could probably start a combo there with one of your medium buttons and get in and do some more damage. Universally, I will tell you, I still do this at the master level. Sometimes on reaction, we just want to sweep blocks. Ryu is not the character to do that against, to counter sweep block sweeps. But it does work in a lot of matchups, so it's not, it's not the worst reaction. But in any case, we do get some damage, which is good, so we whiff punished, but this is definitely a spot that we can optimize a little bit, and we'll just want to look for that as well as we keep watching this match to see, are we taking advantage of these punish situations. We see again here, we kind of are backing up and going full screen, and that's just not where we want to be, right? We want to be closing distance most likely, but there is this good spot here where we get that nice poke. I don't know if you can really confirm much off of that that button, but that was a great time to throw out that button. If you just kind of look at this distance here. All right, so we can see we're coming right into that range that we saw earlier. This is our golden range, right, where our buttons are going to hit. So that's great work. This is what you want to do. This is how you play neutral. Afterwards there, I just think one of two things. Either that button is just a poke, and then we have to take the damage and get back in and can't necessarily just keep walking forward without thinking. Or we have an opportunity to have that be a combo, and if that's a combo, then great. We just want to hit that, knock the guy down, and continue our offense, right? Some neutral play here. This is all good, so we're blocking. I like that. I like this defensive sequence here by Rashid. You can kind of see at the time that we're throwing that out, that's a reasonably decent time. I think there are some situations where you won't quite reach, and he can actually frame trap you there. But that being said, we're not just immediately mashing jabs out of this, which is good. We are hitting some stuff that we probably want to clean up. This really isn't the time to be throwing buttons out, but we did hit them while we're in block stun, so they didn't come out and we weren't punished for it. So overall, I think this was a pretty okay defensive sequence. Okay, so right here, this DI is, I think, okay. We kind of trade. So we have to be mindful here that this guy is going to be waking up. So we have to do one of two things. Either we want to have immediate attack, so we're hitting him on wake up, or we want to back up a little bit so he can't mash a button and hit us or reversal us when he gets up. But we eat that DP. So we either have to be closer and committing to the meaty attack on Oki, or we want to back up and not get hit by that. But we can't sit in this range right here where we're just going to get hit by his buttons, but we're not really an offensive threat. So something to think about. That right there is a really good reversal. So let's look at that again, because this is pretty common, right? A lot of times we see these types of block strings where people are going to hit us with a couple jabs, 3 jabs in a row, and he hits one too many jabs there. and Rashid is ready to take advantage, and he's not. He's not mashing the DP the whole time he waited. The minor criticism is we are mashing buttons here, but we're in block stun, so it doesn't come out. But we want to eliminate this part and just wait for our turn right here. And this was like perfect. Like this is exactly how you want to get out of the corner. But we can't be mashing right here, because if those buttons are actually coming out, then he's gonna be able to combo us in the corner and keep his offense going. So, but that reversal, great timing right there, great execution. So think about that in future corner situations there. Okay, so this slide is blocked, and it's -10, so he can actually punish us on block. I'm not super familiar with what the slide options are, but I think it's like a side switch, and a little bit of damage too, but something to think about. If this slide were to hit, we're going to be on this side, right, after the side switch, and he's going to have corner pressure on us. So this is probably not the time to be throwing this out at all. And also just keep in mind it is unsafe on block here, so we want to limit those. I think this slide goes under fireballs, so if you're trying to catch him with a fireball, it's a pretty good option. But just as a neutral kind of entry, it's not. It kind of reminds us of the beginning of the round, where we're kind of jumping in after this fireball. It's the same kind of thing. So we're trying, basically here, we're trying to skip the neutral part of getting in, and this will work a lot against lower level opponents. But it's something that we really have to clean up as we rise through the ranks. Not to say you should never do it, but it needs to be a rarity, because you're really hoping to catch someone with something there. Fundamentally, it's very easy to take advantage of these types of entries. Get back up to the present here. The mixer, we'll see the slide again, right? So this was actually from pretty short range, so I guess it's not quite what I was thinking with that fireball jump in, but there's going to be better options here. This again comes down to like a meaty thing. So I think to catch him in time after this, after we knock him down, probably what we want to do right there. You might actually just be able to do a meaty button on wake up. You'll have to play with that in practice lab. If you don't quite have the range for that, this would be a good opportunity to do a raw drive rush button to catch him on wake up. So I will say to you, as we see this, something to note, right? So Ryu's punishing us for this block slide, and he only gets 870 damage because he kind of fumbles the punish combo. But keep in mind, against someone who's executing well, and you'll see this like even from silver and gold players that can hit a punish combo, instead of that 870 damage, it's going to be closer to 3,000 and could be upwards of 5,000 if they're if they have critical art, or want to spend meter and stuff like that. So we didn't pay for it too bad here. This is all the damage we took. But if this guy was thinking we're really going to be looking at this much life left, or even losing the round in certain situations. So it's why this is important. We have to look at these situations where we're giving people a punish opportunity, and we have to limit them, because Street Fighter 6 is like really offensively focused. So a lot of characters can 3-touch you to death, and these are the situations that lead to that. So minimizing when we're giving them these free punish situations will really elevate our game. And I know as I was climbing up, especially at around the platinum level, I started to get frustrated because I kept saying to myself, wow, if I make 3 or 4 mistakes against these guys, I lose, because they're so good at just dropping a 2,500 to 4,000 damage combo there. And it changed. It was really an elementary change to the way I approached the game, where I had to start thinking about these situations and trying to limit them, because this is how we lose rounds and give them away. We ate a DI there, not a big deal. We're in the corner. It's going to be hard to get out of this, right? So He kind of shimmies back and does a Tatsu. Our Rashid goes for the tech, or maybe trying to grab. Either of those, I don't think that's a bad play. You know, these situations in the corner are dangerous, and it often comes down to like a 50-50 guess to get out. We guessed wrong here. We lost. That's okay. So we got to regroup. I think overall, this wasn't like a completely awful round. We definitely left a couple opportunities on the ground here that we hit him and could have got a combo off or some more damage, but didn't. And we made a couple mistakes, but overall, you know, I think this was a pretty solid platinum round by both players, actually. So let's see how we adjust here for round 2. Okay, so I like right away that we started off, and last time we did that EX and it didn't work, right? And so we're a little bit more patient this time. Now, as it turns out, if we would have done the EX mixer, or I keep saying EX, but it's OD in this game, same thing, just old Street Fighter brain. But if we would have, you know, if we would have started this round with that mixer on the jump in, we hit him. So especially I want to say props to our Rashid if you saw this jump in a previous round, like maybe earlier in this set, and that's why you decided to open round 1 with it, because you know we see that it's a viable option against what this guy's doing. You know, it just didn't work out in our favor in round 1, and we missed an opportunity here. But I think it was a good decision to stay grounded, even though it's not the best result we could have got. It was still a good decision. So I think that was a good adjustment, even though we could have hit him with it. I think overall this is pretty good defense. So something important to note: when someone jumps in on you, they're going to have a big advantage, so you can't hit a button right away. So what do? We keep blocking. We block the jab. At this point, we could take our turn back due to the spacing. We probably have to hit a light here, and we have to hit it right now. We end up going for a medium, and his button beats us. But you know, this is nothing to beat yourself up out of. I think intuitively, you pick the right time to hit a button. That's just the wrong button, and it does have to be a little bit quicker coming out. But you know, overall, that's not a bad mistake. But we do want to focus on these situations because, again, I find myself in those a lot. So patience there can really help. That was a really great way to get out of that pressure. So we're staying pretty patient, right? Good job. I'm guessing that's on reaction. You saw the Tatsu come and you hit this mixer. Great work. That's really good. Okay, so he gets a whiff DP here, and we're doing a throw. We don't get the punish counter on it. We get 1200 damage. Oops. We get the 1200 damage, and we're kind of far away. Obviously, we want to hit a better punish there. This isn't the end of it's not like this is the worst thing in the world, but that's an opportunity that we can really take advantage of to do at least twice this damage, if not 3 times this much damage. While he's waking up, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you can maybe dash forward and hit him with a meaty button, or maybe a drive rush forward and hit him with a meaty button. And a throw on wake up is also an opportunity there. He's basically mashing this button as soon as he gets up, right? So if you have a meaty timed option there, you beat him, and that's a good way to keep pressure up. But you do a good job blocking it. This isn't what we did isn't bad, right? But we probably want to be a little bit more aggressive there and try to catch him with a button, whether that's a drive rush meaty, or just a regular dash. I think would probably have enough time to catch him there. So we get this block on the Tatsu, and we throw him again. This isn't really optimal. That's okay though. We punished him, so it's not the worst thing. But we want to think of a better option there. The other thing I would note is something that people may or may not be aware of, but in these Tatsus right here, if you want to punish it, wait till he's grounded. If you hit him here, it's a juggle state. So if you're looking for a juggle state, great. but generally speaking, it's going to require a different follow-up. So we wait for him to be grounded. We can start our offense with a normal combo and punish counter there. Okay, so after we knock him down, we go for this fireball, and the timing's a little bit weird. I don't necessarily think this is a bad decision so much, but I don't think we could do the charge. It needs to be like an instant fireball. So if we look at that same situation in the practice room here, get the right one here. Sorry about that. Okay. So same situation. I just have him set to do a fireball and wake up. We throw him and see we can get that immediate fireball timing to catch him getting a button. I don't really think that's necessarily the best option always, but you know, at that distance, it's not bad. I think we could find better ones. So let's see this again, right? We're throwing them. So something I would work into the game here is work on this meaty drive rush timing. Okay, so same thing, right? We throw him. And right there, that's going to be 2,500 damage instead of 1,200. And you're going to wind up, rather than being full screen, you're going to wind up right here where we can continue the pressure. Which will just help your offense, because where we're sitting, you're going to have to make up this ground again. But remembering our distance is like right here. So that's something you can definitely optimize. But, you know, we hit something. So we got the throw. It's not the end of the world. But that's definitely something you can do to increase your damage a bit. Okay, we saw this already. This isn't the worst thing in the world. Probably an opportunity to whiff punish that right there. We didn't. That's okay. Good anti-air. I want to call out. I think you've done a pretty decent job on anti-airing. Of course, we could do better, but I do see you starting to catch on to some of his jump-ins. We don't catch them all, and that's okay. But we are paying attention. That's what this tells me is we're getting some anti-air, so we're paying attention, and we're not just autopiloting everything, which is really important. Okay, decent DI to get out. Okay, we hit the slide this time. It's a side swap of 960 damage. You're getting out of the corner. I think that's a great use of the slide, but from this information, those kind of neutral slides we're generally doing, it's not particularly highly damaging, and it's unsafe on block. So I think we want to save it as an option to get under fireballs or when we want to side switch. So that's something to consciously think about as you play more sets. We don't just want to throw out that slide randomly. We want to use it in specific situations where you're side swapping like this, and now you get this guy in a corner, great, or you're trying to get under fireballs. It's okay, neutral, good air to air there. Good blocking. I think that's a pretty decent DI, especially if you have a read. Like a lot of Ryu players are going to do this combo, this crouch medium kick fireball. Autopilot, they're not going to think about it. They're just going to throw it out there because it's safe on block. If you notice that and that he's been doing that, this is a great 5-star DI. Sometimes we just get lucky too, and that's okay and that's good. But it's something to think about when you see this situation a lot. This crouch medium kick into fireball, DI is a great reaction to that. Just be careful because that crouch medium kick can be canceled into a DI of its own to counter you. But if you see him autopiloting that crouch medium kick fireball, DI him all day. All right, I think that was a really good round. Yeah, we made some good adjustments from the first round. We were a little bit better defensively. We adjusted to jump-ins. And we had a little bit better damage. We can optimize some of that stuff, but overall, I think that was a good round too. Okay, final round here. So we do that thing again, and I think this is something we can mostly eliminate from our game. So this is really telegraphed, right? All he needs to do is DP here. He can step back. He can crouch, crouch, heavy punch, anti-area. We're not getting a whole lot out of this against good players. It will catch players, especially at the lower levels. But we want to minimize or eliminate this habit of this full screen jump in. It's just not, it's going to get you killed more often than not. So, he does the same thing as like last round where he's not going to get a good punish off this. He should, so he's +6 after that, after you jump in. So he can actually do a pretty good combo here. But he chooses to do 3 jabs and then drops a combo. So we end up not really taking much damage. Let's see, I think like 900. Yeah, 800 damage. But if this were someone who was ready to hit you with the punish counter, you're going to take half your life with the Ryu with a level 3 here. So just be mindful. That's something to think about, is the risk versus reward of these full screen moves. And it's high risk because he can punish you really heavily. And I don't think the reward is that high. At least not against these Platinum Plus players. Okay, so this is, we're in a good distance right now. He's jumping back. We want to be moving forward here, but we retreat to full screen. Just something to think about. We want to manage distance. We want to be up here with Rashid. We don't want to be in a full screen fireball war. We're not a zoner, right? We want to be up here. So you know, it's not like this is an awful mistake. It's just something we want to think about consciously, is why are we backing off? And maybe the answer is that you thought he was jumping forward and you were setting up anti-air or something. And, you know, if so, that's great. But just something to think about. Always be mindful of the spacing. This is where we want to live, right? Like probably right about here, so we can be right by our attack range. Yeah, we're getting a fireball war with Ryu. It's not going to work. Good air-to-air, though. Okay, so we're parrying here. Is this a drive rush attempt, or are we just a little early on parry? I think as is, we committed to the drive rush early, and that probably wasn't the move, but that's okay. Good job blocking. It's okay defense. Okay, so again, we're in that punish counter, and we throw them. It's not the worst thing, but we could do better. And then we're going to do that fireball again, which, let's look at that again, right? So I think really we want to see something like this. If we're going to throw the fireball after the throw, it needs to be instant like this, and then we catch them, right? Something else to think about is this is definitely not an optimized combo. But just to point out, right, we got 2,000 damage on our throw. Here's something, and also we're full screen after that, which isn't great, right? So if we are full screen, we could do that fireball, as we said. There's also that meaty drive rush like this is maybe a good option too if you're full screen after a throw, right? And that's going to get us 2,400. Again, it's just something to think about when you're at this distance and they're waking up. But to go back a little bit and get to this punish here, okay? So we did the throw. Here's an idea of something that you can do, and again, unoptimized, so I'm sure you can come up with something better, but just to think about. Okay. So that's just the heavy punch into Eagle Spike, and then it leaves us right up, instead of being full screen afterwards like we are with the throw, we get 500 more damage, and we're standing right here in the middle of our range where we can continue our offense. And if we watch that again, you'll see that we can continue our offense through hitting him with another meaty button while he's waking up and actually catch him again, right? That's if he's mashing, of course, right? But it's just an idea of how a different decision there leads to more immediate damage and also sets you up to continue your offense. Whereas where we're at here, we're going to have to get back inside of his range to continue our offense. So that's a big takeaway I would have and a way to think about it. And a reason why the throw's okay, but we want something better there. Yeah, see right there. You're doing it. We just need to work that in, or more. We want to be looking for combos like this if we can, especially on a whiff punish. You could probably do a better combo again, but if you just immediately start doing this instead of the throws, you're going to be in a much better shape immediately without really putting much time into other combos. But I do encourage you to find some better combos when you get a chance to. All right, do we like that jump, that DI? I think it's okay. I don't think it's the best option, but we haven't really shown that many DIs, especially for a platinum level. So I don't think that his immediate reaction when he's jumping in and gets DI'd is to counter DI. So, keep in mind that that's probably not it's probably better to anti-air him, but I don't think this was bad. It was a decent use of DI. Okay, here's a kill sequence, right? Look at this damage we get off this combo. 4,480, pretty good kill sequence. That was more damage than we needed, but that's great. So keep this in mind for those DP situations where they block a DP. If you throw that combo out there and they're at under half health, you will kill them for making that one mistake. Whereas the throw, you're going to take 2,000 damage off the top of their life. So really something to think about there. I think you'll secure a lot more wins if you think about it that way, because you can delete half their health bar with this combo that you already know. You just have to be ready to use it in those punish counter situations. So overall, I thought that was a pretty good round by Rashid, and there's things we can optimize, of course. But I think my big takeaway is we want to play towards the spacing of Rashid, which is going to be a lot closer than we're seeing here, really about this range, right? We don't want to give up and back off unless there's a reason we're doing it, but in general we can feel pretty comfortable sitting around this range. Rashid does have shorter normals than a lot of the casts, so you probably want to stay back about another half body to body length. That way you can whiff punish and stuff, but we want to see more of this and less of these full screen deals. The other thing that I would work on is just the meaty game. So if you do find yourself full screen, remember that you can do this kind of this drive rush and catch him waking up. There's better options, but that's immediately putting pressure where we can continue this into a combo or finish it with Eagle Spike or whatever. That's going to be advantageous. This is a better option on wake up than doing those slides or those full screen fireballs that buff into that jumping move. You can, if you don't do that, you can play around with this meaty fireball option. I don't love it. I think it's okay if you find yourself in this situation, but work on that timing so you're hitting them as they're waking up trying to throw a fireball. That charge move you're doing, I understand, I think what you're trying to go for, where we're trying to get our wind buff up and get some better offense, but I think either of those two, either that fireball or that drive rush, are going to be better like 99% of the time. The other thing I would take away from this is just doing something better for these punish counters, even if it's as simple as that. But as we can see there, that allows us to continue that meaty pressure where you can hit them with a button as they're coming up or throw them and continue your offense. And then you don't have to make up all that ground across the screen again. So I think that's where I'd start with these. But otherwise, pretty well played, I thought. Not a whole lot of like really bad mistakes. Just little things that I think maybe you're not thinking about right now. So I would say maybe over the next week or two, as you're playing games, just be very conscious of the Oki is what we call that, right? When they're waking up, your Oki options. Try to incorporate a couple of those and try to make sure when the opponent misses their DP or whatever, that you have a punish ready to go there. And just keep in mind that spacing thing, that we want to think about where we're spaced. So for myself, like as I'm moving forward or backwards, I'm trying to think of what the opponent might be doing and what my reaction is, and that kind of dictates my spacing. And it takes a lot of practice to really start doing that. So just try to think about it. And honestly, it might be overwhelming. It might cause you to lose some matches early on. But if you get in the habit of thinking about that spacing and making sure that we're closing that distance and sitting at our comfort zone rather than retreating and then having to work hard to get back in, once that becomes more natural, you'll see a lot of things open up for you. Anyway, I think that's all we got for right now. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we learned something here.